I'm Deanna Price, and this is my channel Shade Tree Stables, and today I'm going to give you some tips for leading the Pushy or Nippy horse. I see this happen a lot, and I see people not reacting to it soon enough, and that's why it escalates, because they're not seeing the subtle things. They're just noticing when the horse is really pushing them around or when it's already biting them. Some horses are more prone to this behavior because of their personality or because of their breeding. If you think about herding dogs, and herding dogs can really be problematic if they have a handler that isn't using them for a job or doesn't know how to deal with that kind of behavior, and horses can be the same way. But at the same time, also recognize that your horse biting is his way of voicing his opinion. And so anytime you have undesired behavior with your horse, you want to take a chance or take an opportunity to look and see if there's something causing that behavior, some kind of underlying problem. So we're assuming in this video that there's not an underlying problem, the horse is just being a little bit pushy or maybe even a little dominant. So when working with a horse that's a little bit pushy, I like to carry a scratchy stick with me. You could carry just a regular dressage whip as well. And what that does is it helps me to influence more of the horse, because horses are very long in length where we're very long horizontally. So when I'm leading a horse, I can use this to extend my reach. So if he's pushy or he's wanting to snake his neck around into my space, I can carry it like this, as if I have my own long neck out in front of me, and I can say, oh, I'm sorry, I own this space out here as well. And if you need to, if they're ducking behind you, you can give them a little tap back here and say, hey, stay up here next to me. Something else to keep in mind is that we want the horse to be alongside of us. We don't want him way out ahead of us where we're by the shoulder, but we also don't want him behind us, following us, because very easily horses can go from following you, and it's just a mental state shift. They can go from following you to chasing you or moving you, and that's something that happens very quickly. They'll be following you, and then in their mind, they're moving you. And you'll see that in the pasture when you look at your horses. If one horse wants a pile of hay, he moves the other horse. He pushes him from behind to get that pile of hay. So a lot of people think it's good if their horse is walking behind them, but that's not always good, because sometimes the horse thinks that he's moving or pushing you. So keep that in mind. You want to try to stay pretty much right alongside their head. So I'm going to use my horse for an example, and he is a very dominant, confident horse. He's bred for bullfighting, and that's a characteristic you would want in a bullfighting horse. It's not one I necessarily want, though, when I'm trying to lead him. I also work with a cutting bred quarter horse who's also very similar. These are working horses that need a job to do, and so they're wound just a little bit tighter, and you have to always be aware if they're taking space from you. I see that a lot. People will be leading their horse and they don't realize that horse is just ever so slightly going forward and to the left. And so I'm going to get my horse out and show you some examples of that and show you how we can correct it. We want to make sure that that horse isn't moving us. We also want to make sure that he's not creeping into our space, and that we're not, even if we're not moving our feet, that we're not just kind of ducking to the side and yielding to the horse, because that tells him that he is dominant and that he can lead us. So I'm going to get my horse and show you some examples of hopefully of him doing that for a good example and what you can do about it. All right, so I'm going to lead this horse towards the camera and away from the camera, and I'm going to see if I get any of those behaviors where he's wanting to crowd me or take space for me, and I'm going to show you what I do about that. Yeah, see right there, even he just kind of, his head came into my space a little bit. Of course, today he's going to be pretty chill. But see, do you see how close his foot got to me when we stopped? He really came into my space. Those are the little things that if you're not keeping an eye on, they really start to escalate. Back. So backing is always really good. That's a humbling thing to do with your horse. I'm going to walk again and see if I can get him to take any of my space. Yeah, see how it's real subtle there, because he knows he's not supposed to, and he's like, why are you not correcting me? All right, so now as I walk away, I'm going to show you what I do to prevent that, because with this horse in particular, if I don't correct this, you can see how crooked he is stopped. He's taking space and pushing me this way. If I don't correct this with this horse, tomorrow he will be trotting, trying to drag me around. He'll be trying to eat grass. He'll be grabbing at the rope, putting his mouth on me. So I'm going to show you what I do. Come. I'm going to say, hey, keep up here. A little tap behind him. Say, keep up here, please. Good. See, I put his head back in his own space so that his neck is coming right out of his chest. Come. Come this way. Good. Another good thing to do is to yield their forehand like that. So when I turn him, I'm going to turn into his space. I'm going to use this like my neck to say, hey, I own this space here. Nice. That was much better. Come. Nice. So I said, turn with me promptly by using my whip behind me a little bit. I'm going to say, don't lollygag behind. I can do a little chicken wing. Say, I own this space right here. I own this space out here ahead of me. And see how much straighter he stopped? He's no longer in my space. And he even took a step back, which is good. He could take another step back. Nice. So when you ask them to back, you don't have to put a lot of pressure on their face. You can assign a verbal cue to it, and mine is, which is different than a go forward cue. And then I can use the whip at his chest, just like I'm going to tap him. You can tap him if he needs it. There we go. But the whole while I'm saying, keep your head in your own space. Come. I say, yield your forehand. Yeah, nice. And then as I turn, I'm going to say, keep up. Come on. Yeah, good. Oh, good. And I say back. Nice boy. Come. And I'm just being aware that I'm walking straight and that he's not pushing me this way, because in the beginning you could see that. And there I just lured him in. Oh, good. Now back. Good. Back, back. So what I want to say with these kind of horses is you just have to be aware of the subtle signs of them taking space from you, because if you don't catch those subtle signs of them creeping in as they stop, they're pushing their shoulder into your space. If you don't catch those things, then it escalates into the nipping and actually bumping into you. Your horse probably does not run into fences and trees outside because he respects them. So make sure that your horse respects you at least as much as a fence post, okay? The other thing I want to point out is that you do not have to dominate these horses. You don't have to think about it in a way of subordinate and dominant, okay? Because that doesn't create a very harmonious relationship with your horse. What you want to think about is that you guys are in a dance together. You're dance partners, but somebody has to lead so that you guys know where you're going, okay? Keep that in mind. You can see now he's pushing his limits a little bit more, and I just have to say, stay in your own space with your head in your own space. All right, that's all I have for you today. I want to thank you for watching. I'm Deanna Price. This is Shade Tree Stables, and do me a favor, help me out by hitting the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.